Hi, everyone. So now we're going to get into multiple allele inheritance, which I talked a little bit about when I talked about codominance, okay? So where you have more than one allele that is going to be expressed for any given characteristic. So the most common is our blood type. So blood typing is also known as multiple allele inheritance. There are 3 different alleles. AB, and then lack of AB, which is O blood type. So I should say there are 2 alleles, and if you don't have those 2 alleles, then you're going to have O blood. So A and B are codominant. Type A and B show codominance. Whereas type O blood is, so A and B are completely dominant to O. To type O blood, okay? And so if you have type A alleles on your blood, then you're going to show those A, and you're going to be type A. If you have B, then you're going to show the B, and you're going to be B. If you don't have A or B, that means you have lack of A proteins or B proteins, and then you're going to be O. All right. So a phenotype of A, this is what you say, I have type A blood. You could be someone who has 2 A alleles on their protein, immunoglobulin protein, or you could have 1 and then a type O blood, right? The little recessive. If you are B, you could have 2 B alleles, or you could have a B and then nothing. Again, type O blood. If you're AB, you have to have a type A and a type B. That's the only way you can be B. And if you're type O, you have to have 2 recessive alleles. So the way I typically write it is like this, just because I think it's easier. So you can be, if you're type A, you either have 2 A alleles or you have an A and an O allele. If you're type B, you have 2 B alleles or you have a B and an O allele. If you're AB, you have a type A and a type B allele. That's the only way. O, then you have to have O. So I will say AB is the least common blood. And O is most common. So if you are type A or type B, you're in the middle. And I believe A is more common than B. And then we talk about RH factor, but RH factor is shows complete dominance, first off. And it is inherited completely separate from your A, B, and O blood. Okay. So then we have polygenic inheritance. Polygenic inheritance occurs when a trait is governed by 2 or more genes. Each they have their own sets of alleles. So if you have dominant characteristics, they are going to be quantitative, or they add up. So if you have A's and B's and C's, example, if you have all dominants, they're going to add up and produce a different characteristic or a different phenotype than someone who has maybe A, B, B, C, C. Because now we only have 2 alleles that are dominant. So whoever here, their characteristics are going to be very different from this individual. And so what this does is it produces a continuous variation or a bell-shaped curve for phenotypes. And the best example of this is skin color. So skin color is the result of pigmentation, so color produced by melanocytes. There are over 100 genes that influence skin color. So to make this understandable, we're just going to use 3 alleles, A, B, and C. Each dominant allele is capitalized and it contributes to pigmentation. So you can have A, B, C, C, all the way to A, B, C, C. So over here, you're going to have darker skin, and over here, you're going to have lighter skin. Most individuals are going to be found in this middle area right here. So this is why it makes this bell-shaped curve. So most people are going to be in the middle and have approximately 3 alleles. So their 3 alleles could be A, B, C, C, or they would have the exact same skin color if they had a big A, big B, little b, big C, little c, because they're additive, so 3 and 3. Does that make sense? I hope so, because no one's here to actually say that makes sense. So I'm going to assume that you all are going to understand this. So let's look at what it looks like. Okay, and the next one, hold on one second. I'm going to show you this. Okay, so here we have very light skin color. So this would be very pale. And then over here we have very dark, okay? So this is all 6 alleles are added up. Over here we have all 6 alleles that are all recessive. Everything in the middle of this is going to be slightly different. So here again you have the majority of your alleles are going to, or individuals are going to fall in this middle area where you have half of the dominant and half of the recessive. And then you're going to, there's going to be fewer on each side, even fewer on each side here, going to either darker or lighter. And then you have the fewest at the ends. And so skin color is one of the best examples of polygenic inheritance, and it shows that it doesn't matter the number of melanocytes, it matters the number of dominant alleles within the melanin producing genes are what will determine your skin color. But there's other factors that influence skin color as well as other characteristics. And so that is your environment. Environmental factors such as temperature, nutrition, these are 2 very important factors, can influence your phenotype as well. So your polygenic traits like skin color again can be influenced by the environment. So think about what you do in the summertime. How many people go out and sit in the sun to try and get a tan? So what that's doing is it's increasing the pigment production. So you're producing more melanin from those melanocytes. And so that's going to make your skin color here change from maybe here to here, or from here to here, or from here to here. So you're changing it by the environment. Another example is height. Height can be influenced by nutrition. If you have an individual that gets all of the vitamins and all of the nutrients, the proteins that he or she needs, they're going to be able to grow more effectively than someone who didn't get that stuff. You can see this in children who are malnourished tend to be much smaller than children who are fed properly. Temperature can influence color. So we have certain flowers that will be white in certain temperatures and they'll turn red in other temperatures. Red helps you to absorb heat, or I shouldn't say just red. Color absorbs heat better than white. White reflects heat. So if it's warmer out, they want to reflect that heat. Whereas if it's colder out, they want to take in the heat. So this is showing height. This height is another polygenic trait. And nutrition is going to influence the polygenic trait. So again, it's this bell-shaped curve. Most people are at that medium or medial height. Some people are short and some people are very tall, but most are, an average height, right? 60, so about 5'8" is about the average height right now, is what this chart is showing, okay? So another example, Siamese cats and Himalayan rabbits. They have darker colors in their appendages that tend to get colder easier, like paws, tails, nose, and ears. And they're going to be lighter in their torso region, or the region of their body that keeps in the warmth. And because of this, and you can actually run tests, their melanin production increases in areas where they have cold environment. And so this is a picture from an older modern textbook, where they took a Himalayan rabbit. You can see the areas of the body that are typically dark. You have the dark ears, the dark nose, the dark feet. And what they did was they shaved the rabbit. They then strapped an ice pack onto the rabbit. I know that sounds really mean. They didn't hurt the rabbit, not physically. He didn't have any lasting effects. But the rabbit then produced dark melanin for fur so they could absorb more of the heat from the sun. All right. Last but not least, I'm going to use an example from the environment that a lot of us already know. So this is a lactose disorder. So anybody that has lactose intolerance, when they drink milk, they get gassy. Their intestines don't function properly because they don't have the enzyme lactase, which they need to break down the lactose. And so the lactose goes through their intestines, causing all kinds of pain to that individual. And so this disorder is a recessive disorder. So over here I have a genotype. So if you have two dominant alleles for lactase production, you're going to feel good whether you have milk in your diet, so an environmental characteristic, or no milk in the diet, right? You're going to feel good. You might drink almond milk over here, or you might drink whole milk for all I care. You're going to feel good because you produce that enzyme and you can break down the lactase. If you are heterozygous, again, you look just like you look just like anybody else who does or does not produce lactase, because you have the enzyme to produce lactase, right? But if you are homozygous recessive and you have milk in your diet, you're going to look very different than your counterpart who does not have milk in his diet. This individual looks just like all of these other individuals. They're all happy, so their phenotype changed because of their environment. So the environment influences that phenotype. So I hope that made sense. And you know what? This is the last video. And the last slide. So I'm going to upload this and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.